The nice thing about counting stars. In the hot summers of the 30s, we would sit on the steps and sing for hours. We even counted the stars in the sky, and it was always beautiful. So my mother begins writing her life down. Jackie Onassis thinking in her car behind dark glasses. She recalls the luxury of growing up, she and her sisters buying jelly Bismarcks on Sundays and eating them in the back seat of her father's Packard Parker on the drive. Pretending they were going somewhere, and they were, not knowing years later they would be headed for just an exotic place. Somewhere far from Fresno, their white stone house on F Street, the blackboard in the kitchen where they learned math, long division, remainders. What is left after you divide something? When Executive Order 9066 came telling all the Japanese Americans to leave their houses, we cleared out of Fresno real fast. They gave us 3 days. I remember carrying a washboard to the camp. I don't know how it got in my hands. Someone must have told me, "Here, take this." They were given 3 days to move what had taken them years to acquire. Sewing machines, refrigerators, pianos, expensive fishing rods from Italy. A war was on. Japs had bombed Pearl Harbor. Burma's shaved billards littered the highways. Slap the Jap. Take only what you can carry. My mother's family left the Packard, and with it left Sundays in the back seat. Others walked away from acres of land, drugstores, photo albums. I think of turtles, how they carry their whole lives on their backs. My neighbor Jimmy told me one night how they make turtle soup down south, a huge sea turtle. Take a sledgehammer to the massive shell, wedge it open with one simple, solid blow, so the turtle can feel no home above him, till everything is taken away, and there is nothing he will carry home from this moment. My parents had 3 days to relocate. Take only what you can carry, one simple, solid blow. They felt no home above them. Dear sirs, of course I'll come. I packed my galoshes and 3 packets of tomato seeds. Janet calls them love apples. My father says where we're going, they won't grow. I'm a 14-year-old girl with bad spelling and a messy room. If it helps any, I will tell you I have always felt fun using chopsticks, and my favorite food is hot dogs. My best friend is a white girl named Denise. We look at boys together. She sat in front of me all through grade school because of our names, O'Connor, Ozawa. I know the back of Denise's head very well. I told her she is going bald. She tells me I copy on tests. We are best friends. I saw Denise today in geography class. She was sitting on the other side of the room. "You're trying to start a war," she said, "giving secrets away to the enemy. Why can't you keep your big mouth shut?" I didn't know what to say. I gave her a packet of tomato seeds and asked her to plant them for me. Told her when the first tomato ripens, to miss me. We were sent to Jerome, Arkansas. Arriving there, I wondered how long we would be fenced in. The nice thing about counting stars is you can do it just about anywhere. Even in a relocation camp miles from home, even in Jerome, Arkansas, where a barbed wire fence crosses itself, making stars of its own, but nothing worth counting, nothing worth singing to. My father remembers only 2 things: washing dishes in the mess hall each morning besides George Kaminishi, and listening to Bill Crosby sing White Christmas on the radio in the barracks late at night. One morning, George looked up from a greasy skillet at my dad and said, "Yosh, you're a happy-go-lucky guy. What do you want to do with your life?" It was the first time he realized he had a life to do things with. He was 15. He didn't know. It was only later that Dad found out George had colon cancer and had no life to do things with. And when Bill sang late at night that song, Dad could only think, "He's not singing to me, he's singing to the white people." I'm dreaming of a white Christmas, just like the ones I used to know. My mother, meanwhile, was at a different camp and hadn't met my father. At night, she'd lie in bed and think about the old family car back in the driveway, where the windows smashed and broken into, the things driven away by thieves. Or was the grass a foot tall now, erasing the Goodyear tires that were so shiny and new? There was a hole in the week where Sunday used to be, and she wanted jelly Bismarcks more than ever. Somehow we adjusted. There were weekly dances for the young. Dad sent away for a huge rice paper umbrella of vivid colors, and Peg and I hugged it during the stormy days. Tonight, almost half a century later, my father celebrates his 60th birthday. He sits marking papers in the orange chair in the living room. My mother enters grades in the grade book. In one corner, a brass gooseneck umbrella stand has been turned into a planter, an ivy climbing its way out. The oscillating fan shakes its head. He remembers high school, Miss Barnett in Latin class, himself at the head of it. A few days before relocation, she took him aside. "So you'll be leaving us?" she asked. My father nodded. She looked out the window at a maple tree, giving its leaves back to the earth, at the chalky swirls of dust on the blackboard for some good word at the end of it all. "Look on it as an adventure," she said. The end.